In this video, I'm going to show you how I spec Galad for PvP, so stick around, let's get it. Welcome back to CO Gaming, and today we are going to talk about Galad. I'm going to show you exactly how I spec him for PvP, so without further ado, let's just jump right into this. So to start off, the best thing that I think you can do is go into your Kingly Kin line. I think for the early levels, that is probably the best. It's going to help you get that evade and get that damage dealt up for those. There's early level tiles up to your 150s and 200s. So we're just gonna throw in the 15 points right here. So in this line, the only thing that you actually want to go into is you're going to go into exorbitance. You're not going to put anything into the counterattack. So after you do that, we will go into high kin. At this point, you can also just go ahead and toss, 2 points into icicle and then throw 1 point into dazzle as well. Then we will go into high king and put our 15 points right here. This just gonna give you that extra damage taken. In theory, you can also start this way as well and put your initial points in the high king. I don't really think there's an exact order. You should probably do this. I'm sure there's some real guild advocates out there that would tell you otherwise, but me personally, I don't think it truly matters all that much. I think early on levels are hard to come by anyway sometimes, and plus those tiles are pretty easy. But that being said, after you put your 15 points in high king, we're just going to go ahead and fill out the rest of this tree. Of course, you're going to get your reduce your enemy's defense right here, and this is going to give you that chance to get follow up. Everybody in this game at this point knows how important follow up can be. So at that, you're going to be basically at your max points, depending on what your respect is. Well, technically, you would have 5 more. If you're respect 5, it's the only way you can get to the respect 5 tree. So what I personally do with the leftover points that I have is I just go ahead and go into this, and I kind of equally distribute these points for this here. Depending on like what you're fighting, really. Of course, most people build their guilds to fight Witch Kings and Saurons and such, so High Alert is probably going to be your best bet. But both of these trees are really good, so, depending on what your respect is going to depend on how many points you can put here. What I'm going to do is for video purposes, I'm just going to do it like this. I just think High Alert is a little bit more important. I think it kind of hinders you a little bit depending on like what other evil you're fighting, and even good with non-RP especially, because so many people run like say Reapers on Gandys and stuff like that. So kind of make a judgment call on how you want to do that. If you're not fighting a whole lot of Witch Kings in your season, then just leave High Alert out and put those points into Champion of the Light, or just balance it out however you see fit. You could easily do 5 in this and then 2 and 2, so that would work as well. And then of course, the higher respect you have, the more points you're going to have anyway. So say you're respect 15, 16, whatever the case may be, there you go, you got plenty of extra points. You'll be able to get 8, 9, 10 in this, and then put the rest in that. So that's pretty much how you would spec your guild for fighting. There is other ways of doing this. I have seen a lot of different ways to do this. I've seen some people that go full icicle. I don't know, like it's just one of them things to where there's so many different ways to build guild for what you're fighting. And I think that's the most important part to note, is you build this dude how you're fighting and who you're fighting. So I think overall builds, this is probably the most balanced. It's going to help you fight just about anything. You are going to get beat. Gil's not that unbeatable person. So that's always something to note. And I've showed some videos here lately that clearly show how you can beat Gil with a T1. So, but that is kind of the skill layout. We will go talk about kind of what you should use for gear. There's a lot of different options here. So first and foremost, as far as a weapon goes, probably the most decorated weapon is going to be the Elven White Knife. With the Elven White Knife, the substats you're truly looking for is going to be Might of Elves, but what you're really after is that +6 attack right there. So pretty much any of them works, just don't refine it unless you get that Might of Elves. Uh, then as far as a purple goes, you know, probably the best overall one is purple would be your Mirkwood bow with range might, or you could do the purple bow with right here, elf strength. I would probably go elf strength just because it's going to bump all of your elves up instead of just doing the range one. So that's probably the one I would recommend is Mirkwood bow with elf strength. That's probably going to be your best option. Also, something you could use if for some reason you didn't have that, but you had a cutlass, is you could do the melee might cutlass. Unfortunately, with that one, the only thing that's going to hinder you there is there's only one melee unit that you run. So, you know, I would recommend if you can get your hand on a bow, then go with the bow, because melee really isn't going to do a whole lot for you. But you still get that +3 attack, which is a bonus itself. Moving on to a chest piece, there's a lot of different variations you can do here. As far as the purple goes, you could go with, you know, scale mail. That would be a good option. Theoretically, you could do a hunter skin if you wanted to. Probably scale mail is going to be your overall best purple option. And then chest piece wise, you know, you can go with a ranger shroud with resistance. You could also do a mithril coat with tactical maneuvers or barrier. And then probably the most notable one that I've seen that it's pretty common for Gil and running it. We're just going to have to go over here because I don't actually have one. Would be this. Pretty sure it's this. Yeah, this one right here. And you would just run resistance on it as well. Of course, the same as Ranger Shroud. You get the burn, focus, and poison damage. I do see people run the Fortitude of Elves as well on that. I think it's just kind of a hit or miss on what you get and how lucky you are. If you're able to get resistance, then there you go. If not, then the one that you managed to get was Fortitude of Elves. Then that's what I would go with. But yeah, that's pretty much kind of your options there. As far as, say, your helmet, I think the helmet is another one of those there's several different options. So first and foremost, you could go with, you know, your High Elves helmet, and then you run Unwavering on it, which is going to give you the stun. You could also run Fortitude of Elves, which is of course going to give you damage reduction. And then if you have a Aegis Hunter's Guide, you can run it, which is going to give you, of course, stun and madness immunity. Plus you get that plus attack on the top. So those are kind of your options there. As far as a purple item goes, purple items a little bit different. I think you almost kind of have to have some type of stun or madness immunity, but what I have seen people do is run a Trapper's Hood with a stereo on it. Always seems to be a good item. Just, you know, catch some people off guard with doing, you know, that's madness, making people go crazy. And then, of course, you know, if you want stun and madness immunity, you would just run a Horseman helm with, you know, one of the two that gives it for you, warding and resolve. So that's kind of your options there. As far as an accessory goes, purple wise, I would recommend you do a harp with either elf strength, and I would always keep a harp in your back pocket if at all possible with hunter's mark, just to give you that pursuit. When you fight other guilds, you're going to want pursuit. It's going to help you get the edge. But those are kind of the two purple items. You could also, if you really wanted to, you could run a worn out smoking pipe with sustain. Wouldn't be a bad idea. But other than that, that's probably just kind of what I would go with. Gold item wise, in my opinion, it's one of those to where you're going to want Pursuit or Elf Strength, so probably going with the Silver Harper Rivendell with Might of Elves, which is going to give you the Elves damage dealt. That is a really good item that you could run. As far as anything else gold, I would say probably the next best option would be like, say, a Palantir of Orthanc with tactical mark on it would be good. You could technically run, I think, a Fiddle of an Eldest, but if I was going to run a Fiddle of the Eldest, what I would probably do is I'd probably use Blitz to give you initiative. That would just be kind of a last resort option if I didn't have one of the other two that I actually needed. But even then, I would still probably run a purple over that. I just think the Hunter's Mark and that Elf Strength is gonna do you so much better. But that's pretty much the gist of the gear. There's several different combinations. There's so much stuff that you can put on him that you don't really have to just fully worry about certain things. So as far as troops, the troops is really almost pretty simple. The most common thing you can do is you have to run your elf units. You don't want to run anything else, so you could do your sentinels, bow knights, wardens. If you want to get one of those random camps, you could do sentinels, keepers, wardens. There's several different combinations. For that, you can even do bow knight, keeper, wardens. Then, of course, if you can get your hand on march wardens, you can do your sentinels, march wardens, so on and so forth. Just want to make sure you keep it with elf units. I do know his unique, you can technically run min units and it gives you that, but I just think that's crazy. I would not do that at all. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the unit comp. Outside of that, there's really nothing else to be said. I don't have any reports to show in this video because I'm setting them back in, and I didn't get a chance to get any from some people that I know. But I think Gil kind of speaks for himself anyway. He's really good. If you have him, especially if you have him high respect, he can be a monster, but he's also kind of like Witch King, to where he's getting stuff built to counter him over and over. Pursuit is a definite weakness that he has and makes it really hard to play him sometimes, but sometimes you got to fight through adversity, and that's just what it is. But that is the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, subscribe to the channel. Discord link will be in the description, along with other information that you can. Check everything out. Join the Discord. As always, like and subscribe. Till next time, see you out.